Daddy. He's going to be late for church.
I suppose he's still dressing.
No, he went out.
Oh?
Yeah, he pushed Grandma to the park.
My, what a beautiful morning.
Darling, you aren't even dressed. You'll be late for church.
I'm not going.
You're not going? Why, John, you haven't missed church in 20 years.
Not going.
Do you mind if I ask why?
I'm going fishing.
You're what?
Well, don't look so alarmed.
But, Daddy, you'll get arrested. Don't you know they passed a new law? No fishing on Sunday?
Who passed it?
Just last week, the League for Elderly Democracy passed it.
That's right, and now everyone has to go to church.
But Grandma doesn't go to church.
That's because she has a health certificate. If you're old enough, you can get a health certificate and you don't have to go.
That's why there's no one on the street Sunday morning.
Aha. I hadn't noticed that.
Well, of course not. You've always been in church.
Doesn't matter. It's decided. I'm going fishing.
Really, Daddy?
Now, don't all look so alarmed. You don't have to call a lawyer and have me committed. I'm going to eat a big stack of fresh, fluffy pancakes, drowned in golden, sparkling syrup. And then I'm going fishing.
In North Dakota could change how you spend your Sundays. Lawmakers are debating House Bill 1150, which would bring back Sunday blues law. If passed, the bill would make it illegal for businesses to open or workers to perform non-essential labor between midnight and noon on Sundays. Supporters say the bill protects the family time and encourages rest. Critics argue it limits your freedom to shop, work, or run your business. The bill would also prevent landlords or franchise owners from forcing businesses to stay open on Sundays.
Our organization had worked for years to repeal North Dakota's blue laws, which in 2019 were the most restrictive in the country. We felt that businesses could make choices in their own best interest, and consumers could make choices about when and where they wanted to shop. And so we were very pleased to have that repealed in 2019. Did not expect the bill to bring them back.
The law would not apply to essential services like restaurants, hospitals, and utility services. Recreational events, parks, and community festivals would also get a pass. However, if passed, most stores couldn't sell items like clothing, furniture, or appliances during the restricted hours.
He was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. Revelation chapter 13, verse 15 to 18. These scriptures right here are the premise to this understanding of the mark of the beast. There are many who read these verses, but they do not understand how this will come into play. There's a lot that someone will have to research on to really understand how this prophecy of the mark of the beast will become a reality. The world is being prepared for a full transition of worship where Satan will be worshipped as God. It should never be forgotten or ignored that Satan's ultimate goal is to be like the Most High. He wants to ascend into heaven and exalt his throne above the stars of Elohim, and everything we are seeing today is about this goal. We see with the one world religion that he is bringing together all the faiths of the world and declaring that they all worship the same God, which is true, but only when you exclude those who truly worship the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. When you exclude those who believe truly in his Son, whom he sent, Yahushua HaMashiach, in English, Jesus Christ, who paid the price for our sins. But we see that the rest of the world, those who do not live according to the truth of the Bible, are all coming to an awareness that they are worshiping the same God. And then we also see another part of prophecy that describes how Satan will enforce this worship of him and how he will control the masses. And this is through the establishment of the one world government. And we see concretely that the world has been aggressively working to establish this world government through the establishment of the United Nations. and the world moving together in agreement with the Sustainable Development Goals. The framework for world peace is clearly being established, but has not and will not be realized until the world is pushed into chaos, and then will give up its freedoms willingly in an effort to find peace and equality worldwide. But in the end, this truly is about a universal declaration of mankind. This declaration states that mankind does not want to be governed by Yahuwah, the Most High, and that Satan truly is the God of this world and will be worshipped. This will not be a long-lived story, but it will happen nonetheless. And by examining world events, we clearly see this occurring. Now, there are other pieces to this end-time puzzle. When understanding the end times, things will only make full sense when you understand the full goal, and then you understand the different pieces of the puzzle that will be used to establish this goal. If we are discussing the end times and wanting to gain complete understanding and have discernment so that we are not misguided and not falling for Satan's tricks and schemes, we must look at things with the complete end goal in mind. We should start with Satan wanting to be like the Most High. He wants to be worshipped in place of Yahuwah. He believes he is more powerful and believes the world wants his way rather than submission to Yah's way. Satan moves in schemes, plots, and conspiracies in order to attain this goal. So when all of the puzzle pieces are put together, we have Satan's goal of being like the Most High. But in order for the picture to be completed, we have the different pieces, which are 1. The one world religion, 2. The one world government, 3. The one world ruler, the Antichrist, 4. The one world currency, and 5. The mark of the beast. And when we put all of these together and more, this will bring about Satan's desired goal. As we plunge deeper towards this future, much of this needs to be discussed and analyzed with a biblical mindset, while also having an understanding of current events. Now, in regard to this prophecy of the mark of the beast, there are many different teachings and speculations that surround it. There are many different conclusions to what the mark of the beast is. Much of the current understandings stem back from interpretations that have been made over 150 years. For instance, Ellen White's book, The Great Controversy Between Christ and Satan, her conclusions were mainly based on the world and time that she was living in and the information she had available. She made conclusions that 1. The beast of Revelation and the 4th beast of Daniel is the papacy, 2. The Antichrist is the Pope, and 3. The mark of the beast is Sunday worship coming through Sunday law. Now, these interpretations I disagree with. It is very important to review the current world that we are living in and then apply the prophecies accordingly. Now, I am not saying that the Roman Catholic Church and the Pope do not play a major role in the end times, because they do. It's just that many are not accounting for what is currently happening in the world around them today. But they are holding on to interpretations that happened 150 years ago, when the world was very much different at that time than how it is currently today. You see, in order to really understand the agenda of the mark of the beast, you must get a grasp on what the devil's ultimate goal is. Satan is trying to be like the Most High. The Most High Yahuwah is 1. Omnipresent, which is having the ability to be present everywhere. 2. Omniscient, which is him being all-knowing. And 3. Omnipotent, which is having ultimate power. Satan wants these qualities and more, but he cannot be this on his own. So through technology, he has created a world surveillance system that does that for him. Through his Big Brother technology, he is trying to watch our every move, listening in our homes, seeing what we are doing, and seeing where we are going. He has created an artificial way of him trying to be like Yahuwah. He is able to watch and surveil all that happens with every move. He is able to know our thoughts and feelings by the use of social media outlets and cookies attached to every website we visit. He is creating a whole system of control that he was never able to have before because of technological restraints. And the mark of the beast is just another part of this overall goal. It shows a pledge of allegiance to his new world order, while also providing him with the ultimate goal of controlling every human on earth connected. If you ever watched the movie Furious 7, they speak about this technology called God Eye.
Bring it up. Yes, sir. Say hello to God's Eye. Now, this little bastard hacks into anything that's on the digital network. That means every cell phone, satellite, ATM machine, and computer simultaneously. If it's got a microphone or a lens, God's Eye can find you.
So you invited me here to show me a tracking device?
On steroids. Lots of them. Let me put it to you this way. It took us nearly a decade to find Osama bin Laden. With this, we'd have located him anywhere on the planet in a couple of hours. Now, that's a serious piece of machinery that could be catastrophic in the wrong hands. But for some very nauseating political reasons, any rescue plans involving any U.S. government forces or entity has been strictly ruled out.
You see, Satan developed this technology to make him more like Yah. And if you pay attention to the world we are in today, the elite's plan is to lead us to a new digital world where everything will be logged, tracked, and recorded. If you understand that money is going digital into a new cashless system, your mindset on dealing with this current world system will be different. You will be preparing and embracing for the change, as well as being better to read between the lines of all the lies and distractions that are being spread. This world is coming to a great change. One of the biggest agendas in this world is about creating a new world order. The agenda is not only about creating a new world order, but along with it, creating a whole completely new world. They are slowly planning on introducing to us into a new digital world that they are creating. The stuff that looked like science fiction that they spoke about in movies is really a reality that they want us to be a part of. And like everything else that they do, they are not preparing the masses by proper notification and education, but they are not hiding it either. They have put the information out there for us, and like with everything else, it is up to us as individuals to do our own due diligence to understand and prepare. So we need to discuss this agenda of the marketed beast and how this will grant us access to the new digital world that is coming soon. Now, the first thing I will say about this prophecy of the marketed beast is that this is something to be taken literally and not symbolically. Because of interpretations that happened back then, it made people treat these prophecies more symbolically rather than literally. Like symbolic in reference to the prophecy of the mark of the beast, the belief of the Seventh-day Adventists is that the mark is not a physical mark that can be seen, just like the seal of God on the 144,000. When the scripture speaks of the mark in the forehead or on the right hand, they believe the forehead represents the mind. A person will be marked in the forehead by a decision to keep Sunday as a holy day. And the hand is a symbol of work. A person will be marked in the hand by working on Yah's holy Sabbath or by going along with Sunday laws for practical reasons, like your job, family, and etc. They believe the sign or mark for either God or the beast will be invisible to people. You will, in essence, mark yourself by accepting either God's mark, the Sabbath, or the beast's mark, which is Sunday. Though invisible to man, God will know who has which mark. This is the main interpretation of the mark of the beast by many. They believe when they enforce Sunday law, this is when the mark of the beast occurs. The scripture also says, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Revelation chapter 13, verse 17. This is the part of the prophecy that many leave out. Their understanding is completely surrounded by the Sabbath. But nevertheless, when reviewing current events today, it allows us to take prophecies like the mark of the beast literally.
Instead of carrying your wallet in your back pocket or your purse, a tech company wants you to keep it under your skin.
All right, so let's explain here. Walletmore is selling microchips implanted in your hand as an alternate payment. Could this be the future? Maybe. Once you set up your card info in the company's app, look at this, it says payments could be as easy as swiping your hand over a card reader. Right now, chips are not sold in the U.S. Crazy.
There is no coincidence when there is technology that allows someone to buy or sell with it, while it is actually being planted and inserted in someone's body, and gives a system complete access to their life from financials, health records, location tracking, and much more. I remember the show Law & Order showing this to us, and Detective Olivia Benson thought this technology to be crazy.
No, she's not. She's with Miss White. And you need to tell me what they're doing to you, because if you're in danger, I'll take you out of here.
No matter where I go, she'll find me.
Mackenzie, we're not going to let her. Now, you said in your note that they put something inside of you. What was it?
A computer chip.
Mackenzie.
It has all my information on it. It knows everywhere I go. That's how they found me yesterday. Okay, I can't hide.
They didn't find you. We did. And there's no computer chip inside you.
There is. Look.
Looks like you got a shot.
It was in a shot. That's how Dr. Zadok put it in.
Look, there's nothing in your arm. They probably told you that so you would behave.
No! Okay, I'm not lying. It's for real. Please just feel it.
It's tiny. What is that?
I told you. A computer chip.
Actually, it's an RFID chip. Radio frequency identification.
Like they put in dogs.
It's the same basic technology.
So the Burtons can track every single move their daughter makes?
Not yet. In the future, chips will be equipped with GPS, but for now, they simply carry a 16-digit number unique to each client.
So why would the Burtons freak their kid out now if they can't even put her under surveillance yet?
To save her life. If she were ever in an accident, the hospital could scan the implant and retrieve valuable medical information.
So can any third-rate hacker, or Uncle Sam for that matter. How much private information can you put in these chips?
The applications are unlimited. In the future, we'll be able to track children, the elderly, criminals, immigrants.
Welcome to the New World Order.
What the fact that this kind of technology exists and they are promoting it to us, we should be strongly looking at this as the mark of the beast. There is an active campaign promoting an implantable RFID microchip that has many different functions, but one of them is allowing digital commerce transactions to exist. They are planting the chip in people's hands, and now they are showing the technology for the same thing to be planted in our foreheads as well.
Elon Musk's next project isn't a car or a spaceship or a solar panel. The executive's latest startup is called Neuralink, which focuses on the goal of implanting chips into human brains and also connecting brains to computers. Here's what Elon Musk said at a conference in California about the technology last night.
This, I think, has a very good purpose, which is to cure important diseases and ultimately to help secure humanity's future as a civilization relative to AI. This, I think, has tremendous potential. And we hope to have this aspirationally in a human patient before the end of next year.
Neuralink is the first chip implanted into the human brain that directly links the human brain with the hard drive of a physical computer without a wire, without a cable. So it's like Bluetooth technology. It's beyond Bluetooth, but you can think of it that way. So what he's saying is, if you can't beat the machines, join them. He said, let's interface, let's become one with these machines. So
you see, there are major consequences that come from accepting this mark of the beast. Then a third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, "If anyone worships the beast and his image, and receives his mark on his forehead or on his hand, he himself shall also drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out full strength into the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of the torment ascends forever and ever. And they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whoever receives the mark of his name." Revelation chapter 14, verse 9 to 11. Then I heard a loud voice from the temple saying to the seven angels, "Go and pour out the bowls of the wrath of God on the earth." So the first went and poured out his bowl upon the earth, and a foul and loathsome sword came upon the man who had the mark of the beast and those who worship his image. Revelation chapter 16, verse 1 to 2. This mark of the beast is not something that should be played around with. And when we assume it is something that is symbolic, when it's actually physical, it can be an irreversible mistake. Because if you receive a microchip that is inserted into your body, that is something that you cannot reverse. This is why the mark of the beast is such a dangerous part of the end times that we must not play around with. What people need to understand is that there is an actual movement, and it is referred to in many ways. You may hear biohacking or transhumanists. They market it as a way of upgrading us.
She inserts chips into people.
What we have going in today is an XNT microchip implants.
What kind of people are getting these chips?
There's definitely more people that are interested just for the novelty of having one and having I've been upgraded to a cyborg.
Augmenting technology is one of the reasons why I want to do it. I have an NFC reader in my car, and it's got keyless entry and keyless start, so I would like to be able to start my car without needing my keys. But once I've got the chip, this is my entry into biohack. I've been very curious about it before. It's something I've written about extensively. I like to automate all processes in my life if possible, and this is just another way of doing that.
The chip is currently located around about here, just in the neck of the needle.
That's pretty big.
Alrighty, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Take a nice full breath in for me. So we just press down on that.
Your chip's in.
My chip's in.
You're a cyborg.
Hey, I'm a cyborg.
You're a biohacker.
Look at me, Mom.
There is an article from Vox titled How Biohackers Are Trying to Upgrade Their Brains, Their Bodies, and Human Nature. They say, even if you haven't heard the term biohacking before, you probably encountered some version of it. Maybe you've seen Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey extolling the benefits of fasting intermittently and drinking salt juice each morning. Maybe you've read about former NASA employee Josiah Zayner injecting himself with DNA using the gene editing technology CRISPR. Maybe you've heard of Bay Area folks engaging in dopamine fasting. Maybe you, like me, have a colleague who's had a chip implanted in their hand. These are all types of biohacking, a broad term for a lifestyle that's growing increasingly popular, and not just Silicon Valley, where it really took off. Biohacking, also known as DIY biology, is an extremely broad and amorphous term that can cover a huge range of activities. The type of biohackers currently gaining the most notoriety are the ones who experiment outside of traditional lab spaces and institutions on their own bodies with the hope of boosting their physical and cognitive performance. They form one branch of transhumanism, a movement that holds that human beings can and should use technology to augment and evolve our species. A subset of biohackers called grinders go so far as to implant devices like computer chips in their bodies. The implants allow them to do everything from opening doors without a fob to monitoring their glucose levels subcutaneously. All of this is very real. The danger is that when inserting this chip into our bodies, we are modifying our DNA, which corrupts us. This is very similar to the days of Noah. This is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was a just man, perfect in his generations. Noah walked with God. Genesis chapter 6 verse 9. You see, Noah's bloodline was not corrupted. So God looked upon the earth, and indeed it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. Genesis chapter 6 verse 12. During the days of Noah, the bloodlines of men was corrupted, which is why they were all destroyed besides Noah and his family, who were perfect in their generation. This is why Yahusha compared our times to the days of Noah. Understand, when we take on this mark, it is a form of biological hacking that changes our DNA and merges it with computers or whatever wickedness Satan has devised. That's why that transhumanism movement promotes that human beings can and should use technology to augment and evolve our species. You will hear this often in movies and other entertainment platforms about our species needing to evolve. This is all part of it.
How is humanity saved if it's not allowed to evolve? There's only one path to peace.
This is what the Mark of the Beast will do. But because the mark is taken, the blood of Yahusha is no longer available for redemption of that person. The mark is editing the genes of Yah's creation and making them abominations. This is something that needs to be understood because this is not science fiction.
When Elias Brotberger goes to work, he doesn't need ID. And he doesn't need money. In fact, much of what he needs to get through the day is hidden right there, just below the surface, in his hand.
Like to touch it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, weird. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a grain of rice.
Yeah, a grain of rice.
Embedded in his hand is a microchip that serves as his keys, his ID, and his wallet.
Yeah, it's all in chip, so I use it like to get around the building.
Buy snacks.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's buy some snacks. So I can't open it.
No.
Okay.
So what I need to do is I need to first blip my chip, and it will log me in, and from there I get access to the fridge.
Popular TV shows like Black Mirror have imagined chips as part of a dystopian future.
Install ingrain procedure with local anesthetic and you're good to go.
In Sweden, the microchips are already here.
The microchip implants use the same technology that's in contactless credit cards,
which have made cash pretty much obsolete in Sweden.
No cash.
At this tech fair, a chipping event for those on the cutting edge, merging their hands with this new technology.
I thought it would be fun, right?
The process is simple and swift. A pinch of the skin, and in a matter of seconds, the chip is inserted. The transformation is complete. As for the pain,
I barely felt it.
but even in this nation of early adopters, not everyone is racing to get chipped.
Feel less human. I will feel like a robot.
I think, so much more data can go into this, when it's in your body.
There's no central registry tracking how many people are chipped, but biohacker Hannes Wellblood estimates between 5 and 10,000.
In the future, do you think everyone is going to be chipped?
I think it'll be voluntary, but I am certainly convinced that millions of people will find it very, very valuable to have a smart device under their skin.
Human microchipping may be our future, but in Sweden, it's already reality.
All of this technology is already here. They are just waiting to fully implement it to the world, and that will not happen until after the collapse of the world. Everything we place in our bodies and our bloodstreams does have effects to it. If we naively trust a satanic world system to give us a computer chip in us so that we can live and eat, we have pledged allegiance to Satan and denounce any loyalty to Yahuwah. One way how they really conditioned the masses to be accepting of this new technology coming was with the mRNA that they were injecting into the masses with the vaccines when COVID happened. But the chip is not the only evidence, because if we had the chip and we are still using paper money and we did not see the opportunity to control us through the commerce transactions because we all had cash, then again, we could ignore these implications. But another part of the prophecy of the mark of the beast is that no man can buy or sell without the mark. So obviously, this is a different economic system than we know today. You see, in order for the prophecy of the mark of the beast to be in effect, the world has to be in a cashless system. But there are many legs to how people will be able to buy and sell with the mark. Have you heard of 5G internet, Web 3.0, the metaverse, and the fourth industrial revolution? These are all tools that will be used to create this cashless world. Understand, you cannot stop buying or selling when there is cash, and there must be a world currency because there must be economic rules for the whole world to abide to. If no man may buy or sell without this mark, you need a cashless world currency. So there is no coincidence why there is a major push to digitize money. Cryptocurrencies are a new currency that have only been around for a decade, but is now being promoted as the future of money. Countries are actively working to implement their own cryptocurrencies. Facebook is creating their own cryptocurrency to facilitate global payments, and many of the major corporations in the world are on board with them. China has already created a cryptocurrency that is backed by gold that is said to be a rival of the United States dollar. Never in the 2,000 years since this prophecy was given have we seen the ability for this prophecy to be literally carried out and implemented. The blockchain technology is a literal digital ledger that records all transactions. We can see that this is the goal of the elite. They want a cashless society so that every transaction is recorded and they know what everyone is doing around the world. With cash, that is not possible because transactions are able to be done without record. If I give you cash, there's no way for them to know. But in a control B system, everything must be recorded. But they will do this in the name of peace and security and to protect the system from failing again after the global economic collapse. They want a cashless society, and you can only deny that if you are ignorant to the world events that is happening right before your eyes. They went from cash to checks to credit and debit cards to chips in the cards to payment through our phones and now to digital currencies where physical currency is never used again. Back then, all of this would be a nut conspiracy. Today, this is reality to anyone who has their eyes open. This is all part of the Great Reset agenda that they want to achieve. And one of those parts of the Great Reset is a technological reset. In regard to the technological reset, they have goals of completely digitizing the world and merging humans with computers.
Everything will be digitalized, which can be digitalized.
This is called transhumanism, and this is part of the agenda where we will see the mark of the beast implemented. You have to listen to what they said on their video about the Fourth Industrial Revolution.
We are wondering what is happening to the world. Everything is changing.
The very idea of human being some sort of natural concept is really going to change.
Our bodies will be so high-tech we won't be able to really distinguish between what's natural and what's artificial.
These people are not hiding their agendas and goals. They are just not publicizing it to the masses. In the book COVID-19, The Great Reset, listen to what Klaus said about the technological reset. In the 4 short years since technological progress has moved impressively fast, AI is now all around us, from drones and voice recognition to virtual assistants and translation software. Our mobile devices have become a permanent and integral part of our personal and professional lives, helping us on many different fronts, anticipating our needs, listening to us, and locating us, even when not asked to do so. Automation and robots are reconfiguring by the way businesses operate with staggering speed and returns on scale inconceivable just a few years ago. With the pandemic, the digital transformation that so many analysts have been referring to for years without being exactly sure what it meant has found its catalyst. During the lockdowns, many consumers previously reluctant to rely too heavily on digital applications and services were forced to change their habits almost overnight, watching movies online instead of going to the cinema, having meals delivered instead of going out to restaurants, talking to friends remotely instead of meeting them in the flesh, talking to colleagues on a screen instead of chit-chatting at the coffee machine, exercising online instead of going to the gym, and so on. Thus, almost instantly, most things become e-things, e-learning, e-commerce, e-gaming, e-books, e-attendance. To sum up, the speed and breadth of the Fourth Industrial Revolution have been and continue to be remarkable. This chapter argues that the pandemic will accelerate innovation even more, catalyzing technological changes already underway, comparable to the exacerbation effect it has had on other underlying global and domestic issues, and turbocharging any digital business or the digital dimension of any business. This transition towards more digital of everything in our professional and personal lives will also be supported and accelerated by regulators. As the coronavirus crisis recedes and people start returning to the workplace, the corporate move will be towards greater surveillance, for better or for worse. Companies will be watching and sometimes recording what their workforce does. The trend could take many different forms, from measuring body temperatures with thermal cameras to monitoring via an app how employees comply with social distancing. This is bound to raise profound regulatory and privacy issues, which many companies will reject by arguing that unless they increase digital surveillance, they won't be able to reopen and function without risking new infections and being, in some cases, liable. They will cite health and safety as justification for increased surveillance. It is true that in the post-pandemic era, personal health and well-being will become a much greater priority for society, which is why the genie of tech surveillance will not be put back into the bottle. But it is for those who govern, and each of us personally, to control and harness the benefits of technology without sacrificing our individual and collective values and freedoms. They are very clearly saying that they will be controlling us through their technology, and we will have to make a choice to accept it in order to take part in their businesses and their economy. In that Industrial Revolution video, they even allude to humans merging with machines.
The very idea of human being some sort of natural concept is really going to change.
Our bodies will be so high-tech we won't be able to really distinguish between what's natural and what's artificial.
The fourth industrial revolution is where we see the actual rollout of the marketed beast. Klaus Schwab wrote a book called The Fourth Industrial Revolution and another book called Shaping the Future of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. If you read these books, they explain a great deal about what we are currently seeing forming in this world. They are currently transitioning our minds for this fourth industrial revolution that is upon us, and they are just getting us ready for it. The first three industrial revolutions changed the world in many different ways, but it was more from a business industrial standpoint, like with the first industrial revolution with the railroads, the second industrial revolution with electricity and assembly lines for mass production, and the electricity changed our lives drastically. The third industrial revolution with the computers and internet. Imagine your life without these things. All of these things drastically change our lives and the world. So you can see that there will be another major change coming with the fourth industrial revolution. But the thing with this is that, like everything else that is coming with this new world order, the fourth industrial revolution is not just about industry or business, but about us personally and how us as humans will be involved with it and interact with it. Now, I'm not going into an in-depth explanation of these evolution of these revolutions, but I'm going to simply discuss the fourth industrial revolution. Klaus writes, by enabling smart factories, the fourth industrial revolution creates a world in which virtual and physical systems of manufacturing globally cooperate with each other in a flexible way. This enables the absolute customization of products and the creation of new operating models. The fourth industrial revolution, however, is not only about smart and connected machines and systems. Its scope is much wider. Occurring simultaneously are waves of further breakthroughs in areas ranging from gene sequencing to nanotechnology, from renewables to quantum computing. It is the fusion of these technologies and their interaction across the physical, digital, and biological domains that make the fourth industrial revolution fundamentally different from previous revolutions. So basically right here, he is saying that the fourth industrial revolution is fundamentally different from the previous revolutions. So that is why it is important to understand what makes this revolution so different. In the second chapter of his book, he writes about the drivers of the fourth industrial revolution. He speaks of megatrends. Now, what is a megatrend? It is a powerful, transformative forces that could change the global economy, business, and society, have been changing the way we live for centuries. Think electricity, automobile, the internet. Basically, megatrends are trends that have an effect on a global scale. So what Claus is going to talk about are trends that will affect the whole world and change the way we live. It is wise to pay attention and understand where the power players and decision makers are steering this world towards, what they feel will change the world. Claus says, to identify the megatrends and convey the broad landscape of technological drivers of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, I have organized the list into 3 clusters: physical, digital, and biological. All 3 are deeply interrelated, and the various technologies benefit from each other based on the discoveries and progress each makes. Claus explains these 3 megatrends that will be coming in this next industrial revolution. He broke the Fourth Industrial Revolutions into 3 parts, megatrends, which are physical, digital, and biological. I will skip the physical megatrend and deal with the last 2 because this does go with the agenda of the Mark of the Beast. Listen to what Claus says on the digital megatrend. One of the main bridges between the physical and digital applications enabled by the Fourth Industrial Revolution is the Internet of Things, IoT, sometimes called the Internet of All Things. In its simplest form, it can be described as a relationship between things, products, services, places, etc., and people that is made possible by connected technologies and various platforms. This segment right here is very crucial because this all will be used to change our lives. This includes many different agendas, like for instance with artificial intelligence. There is so much in the news about ChatGPT and other major companies looking into AI. There are many people that are raising alarm bells about it. They are trying to scare us about a Terminator-type situation.
Musk and hundreds of influential names, including Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak, are calling for a pause in experiments, saying AI poses a dramatic risk to society unless there's proper oversight.
I think we need to regulate AI safety, frankly, because it is, I think, actually a bigger risk to society than cars or planes or medicine.
You will hear Elon Musk talk about it a lot, but this is something that we should not care about because it has nothing to do with what Yah has told us to worry about concerning the end of the age. They are just raising the alarm bells to get us to want them to build rules or regulations about writing them into our society. They want us to be so scared that we agreed to them writing the rules for artificial intelligence being implemented in our lives. ChatGPT is a lot of things. There's a lot of things that it can do.
Netflix more than 3 years to reach 1 million users, but it took ChatGPT just 5 days. Techies everywhere short-circuiting with excitement. OMG, ChatGPT is about to make my life 10 times easier. But what is it? ChatGPT is a state-of-the-art natural language processing model developed by OpenAI. It is specifically designed for conversational language and is capable of generating responses to input in a way that mimics human conversation. That description, by the way, comes from ChatGPT itself. We asked. Think of it as Google, but with more human-like features. Plus, it's free.
You can ask a very specific question like, give me 5 tips for how to use my camera. You can ask it to write a poem or a play or a song. It really can kind of comprehend almost any request. And then it spits out language that sounds like it was written by a human being.
We also asked it to write this entire script, which it did. But it didn't take into account that we'd need our expert to weigh in.
A lot of the headlines are that this might make Google obsolete. Do you see that possibly becoming reality?
If I were Google, I would be a little bit nervous just because this interface is sort of the thing that everybody has wanted forever. I mean, this is the closest thing I've seen to like the Star Trek computer. Where you say what you want and it responds instantly.
For better or for worse, many educators are already worried about how ChatGPT might become a surrogate student when it comes to homework.
Kids could use this to grade something which a teacher could probably not identify as not having been written by a human.
Non-students can use ChatGPT for other tasks. Here's ChatGPT drafting an email to my bosses asking for a raise. OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, says it's using this technology responsibly. The bot won't answer any salacious questions, for example. But this is only the beginning.
There will be other companies who come up with similar technologies who don't care so much about being responsible.
This is just a next step of reducing how much they actually need people to get things done. You are witnessing the technology that will replace you. There are a lot of different parts to the digital megatrend, but the most important is the new economic system of control that will come through the technology of cryptocurrencies and blockchain. Klaus says, the digital revolution is creating radically new approaches that revolutionize the way in which individuals and institutions engage and collaborate. For example, the blockchain, often described as a distributed ledger, is a secure protocol where a network of computers collectively verifies a transaction before it can be recorded and approved. The technology that underpins the blockchain creates trust by enabling people who do not know each other and thus have no underlying basis for trust to collaborate without having to go through a neutral central authority, i.e., a custodian or central ledger. In essence, the blockchain is a shared, programmable, cryptographically secure, and therefore a trusted ledger which no single user controls and which can be inspected by everyone. Bitcoin is so far the best known blockchain application, but the technology will soon give rise to countless others. If, at the moment, blockchain technology records financial transactions made with digital currencies such as Bitcoin, it will in the future serve as a registrar for things as different as birth and death certificates, titles of ownership, marriage licenses, educational degrees, insurance claims, medical procedures, and votes. Essentially, any kind of transaction that can be expressed in code. People love to talk about the liberation they feel cryptocurrencies are going to bring the world, but that is just being naive and people hoping that they finally can be the first to the party and have some kind of financial success. Don't listen to people who frame cryptocurrencies as a good thing. It is a good hedge against the US dollar. But if you're focused on financial success, it is going to walk you right into the mark of the beast. What we are talking about is a major system of control that will be implemented across the whole world. When money goes digital into the blockchain, we will be entering a system of control that has never been seen before. Everything we do will be documented and cannot be hidden. Our lives and all of our actions will be recorded. It is sad that many do not see and recognize this. This will start after the economic collapse and the dollar collapses. The central banks of the world will start with central bank digital currencies, but eventually this will all be merged into one world digital currency, and all the transactions in the world will be in complete control and seen by all that is in control of this world. No one will be able to buy or sell anything without the system knowing exactly what you are doing. This is the world that we are entering, and this should be very clear to see. In his second book, when speaking about blockchain, Klaus says, the permanent and transparent nature of blockchain records means they would be well suited to creating secure digital identities, potentially revolutionizing everything from healthcare records to voting and the delivery of government services. They know this technology will change the way this world is run. Are you planning for what the implementation of it will mean for your life and your family? Do not be reactive, but proactive. When they speak of secure digital identities, they are speaking about merging us with technology. You must understand what they are talking about. The last megatrend Klaus wrote about is the biological aspect, and this should be very alarming, being that the whole revolution is based on the digitization of the world. Klaus says, innovations in the biological realm, and genetics in particular, are nothing less than breathtaking. In recent years, considerable progress has been achieved in reducing the cost and increasing the ease of genetic sequencing, and lately, in activating or editing genes. Synthetic biology is the next step. It will provide us with the ability to customize organisms by writing DNA. Setting aside the profound ethical issues this raises, these advances will not only have a profound and immediate impact on medicine, but also on agriculture and the production of biofuels. Many of our intractable health challenges, from heart disease to cancer, have a genetic component. Because of this, the ability to determine our individual genetic makeup in an efficient and cost-effective manner through sequencing machines used in routine diagnostics will revolutionize personalized and effective healthcare. Increasing amounts of data will make precision medicine possible, enabling the development of highly targeted therapies to improve treatment outcomes. The ability to edit biology can be applied to practically any cell type, enabling the creation of genetically modified plants or animals, as well as modifying the cells of adult organisms, including humans. This differs from genetic engineering practiced in the 1980s, in that it is much more precise, efficient, and easier to use than previous methods. In fact, the science is progressing so fast that the limitations are now less technical than they are legal, regulatory, and ethical. The list of potential applications is virtually endless, ranging from the ability to modify animals so that they can be raised on a diet that is more economical or better suited to local conditions, to creating food crops that are capable of withstanding extreme temperatures or drought. As research into genetic engineering progresses, for example, the development of the CRISPR-Cas9 method in gene editing and therapy, the constraints of effective delivery and specificity will be overcome, leaving us with one immediate and most challenging question, particularly from an ethical viewpoint. How will genetic editing revolutionize medical research and medical treatment? In principle, both plants and animals could potentially be engineered to produce pharmaceuticals and other forms of treatment. The day when cows are engineered to produce in its milk a blood clotting element, which Haemophilus lack, is not far off. Researchers have already started to engineer the genomes of pigs with the goal of growing organisms suitable for human transplantations, a process called xenotransplantation, which cannot be envisaged until now because of the risk of immune rejection by the human body and of disease transmission from animals to humans. In line with the point made earlier about how different technologies fuse and enrich each other, 3D manufacturing will be combined with gene editing to produce living tissues for the purpose of tissue repair and regeneration, a process called bioprinting. This has already been used to generate skin, bone, heart, and vascular tissue. Eventually, printed liver cell layers will be used to create transplant organs. These people show us these things in the predictive programming movies. This is just conditioning us for a time when all of this will be acceptable. In the movie Avengers Age of Ultron, they showed us this when Hawkeye got injured. And this movie talked about so many themes mentioned here. Anyways, Hawkeye got hurt, and they used some spray, and it gave him new skin.
You sure he's gonna be okay? Pretending to need this guy really brings the team together.
There's no possibility of deterioration. The nanomolecular functionality is instantaneous. His cells don't know they're bonding with simulacra.
She is creating tissue.
If you brought him to my lab, the regeneration cradle could do this in 20 minutes.
Oh, he's flatlining. Call it. Time?
No, I'm gonna live forever. I'm gonna be made of plastic.
Your beverage.
You'll be made of you, Mr. Barton. Your own girlfriend won't be able to tell the difference.
Well, I have a girlfriend.
That I can't fix. This is the next thing, Tony. Your clunky metal suits are going to be left in the dust.
Oh, that is exactly the plan.
This is the same technology that Claus just spoke about. They put it right in front of us to normalize their plans and condition us for it. We are developing new ways to embed and employ devices that monitor our activity levels and blood chemistry, and how all of this links to well-being, mental health, and productivity at home and at work. We are also learning far more about how the human brain functions, and we are seeing exciting developments in the field of neurotechnology. We are confronted with the new questions around what it means to be human, what data and information about our bodies and health can or should be shared with others, and what rights and responsibilities we have when it comes to changing the very genetic code of future generations. Did you catch that? They say they are changing the very genetic code of future generations. They are not asking what data they should collect about our bodies. They're asking what information about our bodies can they share. They plan to know everything about us. This is the future that we are headed to. In the second book, in the section 2.3, it is titled Altering the Human Being. They have literal plans to alter us. And this book was published 2 years before the pandemic happened in 2020, in which they injected people's body with a new technology of mRNA. You have to be really careful on what you say about this. Either way, they call this biotechnology, and they are going to manipulate our bodies in order to treat conditions. This is part of many different agendas, but nothing greater than merging us digitally with implantable microchips. A big part of their plan is to place computer chips in us so that we can secure our digital lives, and they can track and know everything that we are doing. Most people are just asleep to their plans. I don't believe we are close to the rollout just yet, but after they introduce all these other ideas with blockchain and the new economic system, when they roll out the metaverse, entire employment, or this universal basic income to it, they will tie your digital identity, and the ultimate verification source will be that chip installed in your hand or foreheads. This is something that is real and is already here. This is the new world that we are entering. All of this is concrete evidence of the mark of the beast that will be implemented in the new world order. This is a prophecy that is to be taken literal and not symbolically. That is why the conclusion of the mark of the beast being Sunday law is not valid. There are dangers if you believe that the mark is not something that is physically injected into us. Once the mark is injected into someone, this action is not reversible. That is why this is a very serious issue that cannot be played around with or ignored. Listen to the scripture about what will happen to those who take the mark of the beast. Then I saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach to those who dwell on the earth, to every nation, tribe, tongue, and people, saying with a loud voice, "Fear Elohim and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him who made heaven and earth, the seas and springs of water." And another angel followed, saying, "Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she has made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication." Then a third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, "If anyone worship the beast and in his image, and receives his mark on his forehead or on his hand, he himself shall also drink of the wine of the wrath of Elohim, which is poured out full strength into the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torments ascends forever and ever, and they shall have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whoever receives the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are those who keep the commandments of God and the faith of Yahusha." Then I heard a voice from heaven saying to me, "Write, blessed are the dead who die in Yahuwah from now on. Yes, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works follow them." Revelation chapter 14, verse 6 to 13. I have tried to have conversations with family and friends about the future that is coming, but most can only consider today and not think about tomorrow. But today we must be focused on getting our relationship right with Yahushua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ. We must focus on building up our strength and dependence on Him. The future is very scary without Him. With Him, we are completely secure and able to withstand the schemes and plots of the devil. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah chapter 54, verse 17. If you are not building up on Him now, you are making yourself very vulnerable. Many people claim that they will not take the mark of the beast, but what is not thought about is how the world will be when this is all implemented. It will be after war and economic collapse around the world. People will be hungry with no access to food. People that are not prepared will be desperate for answers and desperate for solutions. And the only sane answer will come from the beast, the Antichrist, to accept this new system. When people are hungry and desperate, they will do anything. But if you are built up in faith and dependence on our Heavenly Father already, no matter what comes your way, you will be ready for it. You are building up on your dependence on Yahuwah so that you do not pledge allegiance to Satan. We do not bear his mark or feel like accepting his way will bring the peace and security that we need. We must build in our personal relationships with Yahushua and allow his Holy Spirit to guide us. There will be many people that will be persecuted for not taking this mark of the beast, but there is a reward waiting for those who don't succumb to evil. And I saw thrones, and they sat on them, and judgment was committed to them. Then I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded for the witness to Yahushua and for the word of Yah, who had not worshipped the beast or his image, and had not received his mark on their foreheads or on their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. Revelation chapter 20, verse 4. There will be persecution and trials for those who do not submit to Satan. We will be those who will reign with Messiah for 1,000 years for staying faithful. So no matter what comes your way, remain faithful and endure to the end. Amen.